Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's video, we're going to discuss the ACLU. You guys got to forgive me because my other camera's not hooking up. Anyway, so we're going to discuss the ACLU, and also we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about? The ACLU, Brian Thompson. I have some more information in regards to his shooting. This is the guy that we spoke about yesterday, the CEO for United Healthcare. He was shot and, I guess, unalive outside of his hotel room. And we do have some more video footage. I'm not going to show the complete video footage because, you know, YouTube doesn't like that kind of thing. But I'm going to just, talk about it. Anyway, Tuah, we're also going to discuss, and we want to talk about some Bitcoin and her meme coin that she developed. A lot of people think it was a scam. And I have some things about Charlemagne the God. I hate calling him Charlemagne the God, but Charlemagne, he was actually on The View yesterday, and they were talking about the election and Biden's pardon and like Democrats in a whole. So you guys stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk about it on another episode of Business Talk.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Justin Thompson in the building. What is good, Justin Thompson? Muata's tuning in from Little Rock, Arkansas. Noble Young is in the building. Celeste Hodges tuning in from Texas. Hello to you, Justin. Thank you for tuning in. And Rosalie is tuning in and tuning in from the NYC. I just want to start off with a few stories. I don't know if you guys are invested into cryptocurrency, but the latest news about Bitcoin broke through the $100,000 mark yesterday. Yesterday evening, and it's looking like it's about 102,000 right now. Let me just share the screen with you. It's 101,000. So it broke through. You see this, it shot up. This was about 1:55 a.m. So anyway, so it broke through. I don't know if this is right, because I could have swore maybe they're not doing U.S. time. Or maybe I need to change the time, because I knew it happened last night because I tweeted about it. But anyway, if you're invested in Bitcoin, hopefully you invested in Bitcoin prior to its taking off. I know it was down in the mid 40s. I think that was around September. So if you're invested in there, it looks like you're making some pretty good money. So that's all I want to talk about Bitcoin. I know a lot of people are excited, but I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to tell you to invest or not to invest. But it's always good to diversify. So anyway, my next story, or speaking of coins or cryptocurrency. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this Tuah girl. She got really famous in, I guess, because of her name, and not what she did, but it was the name. And I don't even think she ever did the kind of things that she was talking about, but that's how she became internet famous. And Tuah is just a explicit, I guess, thing that you do. It's a X thing. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask your kids. Ask your Ask your kids to type it on the internet. But that's not the point why I want to talk about it. Why I want to talk about her now. So she got this famous, her claim to fame, that she is shot up like maybe mid-October. Her fame shot up. And I guess they said, oh, we should develop a meme coin. Now, meme coins, I'm just going to tell you, is sometimes they are developed, or most of the times they're developed by popular people, people that's like social media stars, influencers, and stuff like that. Or you could have a meme coin by a tech investor or whatever. But generally, these meme coins, they don't actually do anything. It's just it's called a meme coin. Some meme coins are backed by real cryptocurrency, but other meme coins, they're just, you can make a meme coin in your basement, as long as you have, what to do. There's videos on YouTube of how to create a crypto coin. But what I'm getting at, since her claim to fame, she decided to make this meme coin. And they are saying that Hop to a Girl meme coin crashes from 500 million to 60 million in minutes, and fans in meltdown. It says now it was offered yesterday. The initial offering was yesterday. And it says the sudden crash raised several eyebrows, with many accusing the internet personality of scamming them with a rug pull. This is what I was about to talk about. Well, with the meme coin, you can have, whoever creating it. And if they give enough hype, you can make a lot of money, because it starts off with 100th of a million of cents per coin. And you could actually, if you build enough hype, you could get a lot of people to invest in that coin, and you could grow your money or wealth substantially with this meme coin. Now, what people do, scammers do, to raise money, what they do is called a rug pull. And so they'll pull all their coins out, and if they own a majority of the coins, then it causes the meme coin to crash. Okay, so that's what they're claiming. It says Haley Welch, aka Hawk Tuah Girl, launched her highly anticipated meme coin on Solana Wednesday, and
JCPenney wraps up your holiday with more gifts, bigger savings, like up to 50.
I don't know why it's playing. Okay, my bad, you guys. And it says
JCPenney wraps up your holiday with more.
I'm trying to. Okay.
JCPenney wraps up your holiday with more.
Can you guys hear that? Like I can hear it, because they keep on doing it. Anyway, it's saying while the Hawk saw initial surge of a whopping 500 million, it tanked to 60 million in just 20 minutes as the shocking crash lost some of the buyer's whole life savings.
Macy's Friends and Family is the best.
Accused the 21-year-old, I don't know how to shut this thing off, the 20-year-old of a rug pull, dump and pump crypto scam. And they get to describe a rug pull on this one. Will she face any charges? I don't know. I know Congress was talking about enacting some type of legislation to control or legislate, or I guess, put things out there to control that particular financial market. I don't know what steps they are with writing legislations and laws to control that financial market. But remember, just what it was it last, well, I forget where Sam Bankman-Fried, he actually had a cryptocurrency platform, and what he did was you invest into his platform, but he wasn't actually keeping the money in the platform. He was actually spending the money and hyping people up, saying, hey, invest in our platform or use our platform to invest in cryptocurrency. And he essentially devalued the company because of his lavish spending and extreme donations to, different political organizations or political or politicians. Okay, so and they was not anticipating for this meme coin to do anything for real, but it looks like she might, they might sue her if people start to come out. I will expect to see some type of lawsuit or a civil suit against this Haley girl and the people who is backing her. Anyway, so that's it about cryptocurrency. Okay, that is it. I'm not going to talk about it. You guys put in the chat and let me know what you think. Justin Thompson saying JCPenney is determined to tell us, determined to shop or advertise on his channel. Anyway, okay, so this next story is about Brian Thompson. Now, Brian Thompson is the individual, the CEO of United Healthcare. He was killed yesterday in front of his hotel. Okay, he was killed yesterday in front of his hotel, and you guys seen it. They
scene.
I guess, put it on the news. Actually, they broke the story about 7:30 this morning. Now, in some of the posts that I was looking at, it looks like Nancy Pelosi, I guess some business dealing with United Healthcare. I don't know if they was trying to get a medication or some type of treatment that they were invested in, some type of business partner, but Nancy Pelosi was vested into this particular treatment or whatever it was. But it was like a subsidiary company or a company that is like a joint venture with United Healthcare. Don't know how that has to do with anything, but let me tell you this. It says, a message was inscribed on one of the bullets casings found at the scene of the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. Law enforcement sources tell NY1, I guess News Station 1. No word exactly what the message was yet. This is getting deeper and deeper. Now, this is the individual. Let me make sure. I'm trying to scrub to make sure this doesn't show. Yeah. So this is the individual that you see right here. He's the one who actually, took Brian Thompson's life.
Fox 5, Good Day New York, first on the scene. We saw as officers attempted to give this man CPR, those desperate moments. But again, this victim, the man who was shot in the chest, has died. This all happened about 6:45 in the morning outside of the Hilton Hotel right off 6th Avenue. The suspect described as a 6-foot-tall man with a slim build, possibly wearing a cream-colored jacket, black gloves. He took off northbound on 6th Avenue. People who witnessed this situation, there were actually 2 or 3 people who saw it. They said that it appeared that this suspect was waiting for hours, maybe overnight, outside of the Hilton, possibly targeting this victim. It's unclear potentially how these two know each other. Fox 5, Good Day New York.
Okay, so they were saying that he posted up outside of the hospital or the hotel overnight. Okay, Now, this is another scene from where you see Brian. You see Brian on the picture. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but if you guys follow me on X, you can see it because I got it posted on my timeline. But the individual, you see him walking, and he's walking. This is Brian, and then the hitman, I guess you want to call it, he is the person. He shot him in the back. This, to me, this is crazy. You shot him in the back. I guess you got to make sure that you hit your target and he won't take off running. So that's why you shoot him in the back. And then also another thing is, once he did the first initial shooting, he then continued to shoot the guy in the back. And you could see, let me just fast forward the part. Once he got shot, you could see he falls over, and this guy walks closer to him and shoots him again. He's shooting him right then. And they were saying, I thought the gun jammed if you watch the video. And, he does have a silencer on the gun, because I don't think they make guns with the barrel that long unless it's like a shotgun or something, or a military grade weapon. It could be that. But what I'm getting at is some other people were saying that he used some type of supersonic bullets. Let me just go into. I don't think it's a professional job. I think it was it was a professional hit, but I don't think it was the guy that they hired to do the hit. I don't think he was a professional, because it seemed like he didn't know how to use his weapon. He was pretty amateur about it. So this is very, very interesting, and I would like to see if are they gonna get any leads? It says the latest update. They do have a latest update for the manhunt, and it's saying that the shooter stretches into second day. It says police are looking for a man who fatally shot the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan, and they are calling it a targeted attack. And so they've been searching for him, and they know that he rented a bike, a electrical bike, but as far as that, they haven't, said any more or given any more details. You guys put in the chat. Let me know if you think, if this was a professional hit, who was the person or who's behind it. Do you think it has anything to do with Brian Thompson personal life, or do you think it has to do with his career? So on New York Post, it says, message on bullets fired by the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's assassination bears eerie link to a book condemning insurance companies. Another person in one of the comments that I saw, they were saying that, a lot of times people have a disdain for insurance companies because the insurance company denied their claim for a loved one, and the loved one end up dying or passing away because they needed a medical procedure or they needed some type of medication. So that's another, I guess, theory that has, that I've seen, which appears to be include the words deny, depose, and defend. That's what they're saying. Deny, depose, and defend. I want to go back. Like I said, I think this is some odd they said Thompson's estranged wife, so they wasn't together. Paulie Thompson, 51, told NBC News after the murder, the CEO has been getting some threats. Basically, I don't know, a lack of coverage, she said, suggesting it was tied to her husband's job. I don't know the details. I don't know that he said there was some people that had been threatening him. The masked gunman used a silencer and appeared to be experienced shooter based on surveillance footage obtained by the Post. He was seen waiting outside of a luxury hotel for his target, the CEO, with a yearly salary of $9.9 million, before he calmly fired off multiple shots at close range, causing Thompson to stumble and collapse. The gun had jammed but calculated and methodical. Killer was able to clear it, showing he was a skilled gunman. Or showing that, because I wouldn't say I'm a skilled gunman, but if my gun jammed, I know the clock could, unjam it or disengage. I think everybody, if you've been to the range, I don't know if that, well, it may be so, because if you're going to, have to do the, I guess, the dirty little deed, you'll actually probably get nervous and think you'll get caught. So I could see that. I could say, yeah, I could see them, or see the reason why they're calling him a skilled gunman. Anyway, so this is the bike ride. Why did he take this way? Okay. It's at 6:44. The victim is walking along towards the New York, blah, 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 after the exiting the hotel street. The shooter, who was lying in wait alongside the building, fires at him. And this is the route that he took. So I think the shooter might be from New York, maybe. They probably knew where they was going, or, they probably mapped it out. And so, they tried to save his life, but, they couldn't. And then he died at the hospital. He was pronounced dead at 7:12 a.m. He had 2 sons. I think that's sad. I think they said ex-NYPD inspector skeptical of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson killer was a hitman. Okay. So, I mean, that is that. There's nothing more I can say about that. You guys, just give me a second. I have to go and get my charger. I forget to get my charger to my laptop. Okay. I'm back. Anyway, you guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about Brian Thompson. Rosalie is saying, not from NYC. Dude is probably already in Turkey. LOL. If you're denied a claim, you have other options. I know because my mother had a transplant procedure denied and it was granted through appeal plus other charity resources. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the end all and be all. You know, there's other options. And you know, some people were being denied claims of pre-existing conditions, but then they, you know, they wrote out legislation to stop insurance companies from doing that kind of stuff. Breaking news, Blue Cross not covering certain meds for surgery. Okay. Anger mismanagement. I think someone's family member was denied treatment for life-threatening illness and the shooter just snapped. Tim Pool said it was. Tim Pool said it was what? Celeste said it was what? Justin Thompson, if Nancy is investing, then everyone should pay attention. She has major insight of opportunities. Yeah. Let me look at United Healthcare. I think they're a publicly traded company. Yeah, look at their stock price. It was trading at 6:10 Wednesday morning. This is right before this is the wrong. Well, now it's showing Eastern Standard Time. Let me just see. Yeah, it was trading at 6:15 Wednesday morning, and now it's down to 5.80. So I guess it dropped about 26 or $25. And he has security. Oh, look at this. This is the guy. This is the guy, you guys. The image provided by the NYC Police Department shows a man warning for questioning in connection to the investigation of killing the United Healthcare CEO Thompson outside Manhattan Hotel Wednesday. Let me take a picture of this. I'll share it on my timeline. But yeah. Who said he's probably in Turkey somewhere? He kind of looks like he's Turkish, right? He might be from Istanbul. So, yeah, it's funny. A message left at the scene of the insurance executive fatal shooting: deny, defend, and depose, echoes a phrase commonly used to describe insurer tactics to avoid paying claims. So yeah, it might be from a disgruntled insurance holder customer. You guys let me know what you think. Rosalie, I told you. Farouk said the detectives here in New York are the best. Okay. Hopefully they could solve this crime. I know they don't like because New York, they get a lot of visitors. I don't know about now. Farouk, you let me know. How has tourism decreased since the increase of your, I guess, illegal immigrants been coming in. I don't know if that affected the tourism in New York. Anyway, so we're gonna get to the next story. That was a pretty interesting story, you guys. I'm gonna keep you up to date on that. Our next topic I want to talk about is your guy, Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Brandon Johnson. Remember yesterday we talked about him because he always got to talk about being black when somebody asks him a tough question. Somebody asks him a tough question, he has to talk about being black. I don't know what one has to do with the other, but he got to bring it up. So he, now I shared with a clip with you on Brandon Johnson yesterday. Okay. And that clip was about, I guess he was talking in front of, they had like maybe a teachers union conference. I think it was the teachers union. And he was trying to act like he was so passionate, blah, blah, blah. But I like to think that Brandon Johnson is full of crap, So this is Brandon Johnson. And you know what? I don't know if you guys seen this clip before because this is an old clip. And it is saying, as a public school teacher, I expect them to turn in assignments in. But as a public school teacher for a short period of time before becoming a full-time activist lobbyist, he said he didn't give homework to rebel against the structure. This is the type of man that they elected to be the Chicago mayor.
Pushing to eliminate sort of the standardization of our public schools. My students sometimes would get frustrated. I didn't offer any test prep. Many of my other colleagues were doing it at the time.
Just imagine how insane you have to be as a teacher to admit you don't offer any test prep. Now, and this is Chicago. These are Chicago kids, and not to say they're not smart or anything, but a lot of times, reason why kids in the inner city cannot pass examinations because the teacher has not offered any preparation to take exams. Myself and I went to Chicago public school systems. I went to Iowa public school system, and I could say, in first or second grade, I went to a gifted and talented school, so the bar was set a little bit higher. But when my parents couldn't afford the private school anymore, so I went to a regular school, and of course my grades plummeted. And I did not know how to take tests. Okay. They don't teach you that in inner city schools of how to take tests and not to memorize stuff. They teach you memorization, but they don't teach you how to take tests. Whereas if you go into another, like suburban schools, they actually prep you on how to take examinations. And they don't do that in predominantly urban city schools. You guys let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction, but this is based off my experience. Now with my kids now, the only reason why I know this is because we go to suburban schools. They get a lot of tests. They get a lot of exams. They're sent home with practice exam. Besides my fourth grader, I don't know, she's checked out. She don't send nothing home with them. So she barely sends home practice exams. We got to kind of do it on our own. But what I'm getting at is out here, they're prepared to take tests. And so remember the narrative they used to try to push that tests are discrimination or discriminatory practices. And it's designed for Black children to fail. And I have to push back on that. And when I got to college, a light bulb went out. Like, no, it's not based off of for Black children to fail. It's our system is not designed. We don't prepare our children to pass exams. We're not preparing our kids to pass exams. And taking a test and passing an exam, I believe, or being a high IQ individual is two different things. And if you've been to school, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Anyway, what I was getting at is, so your boy Brandon Johnson, he doesn't prepare his students to take tests, and I think he's being a disservice. I don't think should have been a teacher, number one, and he shouldn't have never been elected mayor.
I was pushing our administration to move away from that. To be quite frank with you, I didn't issue a lot of homework for students. That was my own way of sort of rebelling against the structure. I don't think I ever gave a kid an F. I don't know how a student sits in front of you and fails. I know some professors may find that, this is slightly troubling because you've probably seen other things, but pushing to eliminate.
And you, I don't know. Let me go back to this. This guy looking like, or is this a guy? Yeah, this is a guy. He probably like, I'm glad I didn't go to his school. He like, I know those kids in your class is stupid. He like, no wonder this motherfucker, excuse my language, this dude sounds stupid as hell. That's probably what he's thinking. Just imagine talking to this guy, Brandon Johnson, as a parent. Oh, I don't sign tests, and you want your kids to do far greater than you, and you're like the first generation, or your kid would be the first generation going to college or anything, something like that. And you really want your kid to go to college, but then you meet this teacher saying, "Oh, I don't assign tests and we don't assign homework." It's
to eliminate sort of the standardization.
Like, what are you saying? If you're trying to get kids to succeed, you're saying you want to go against the grain and go against the standardization, but the standardization is what we live by. That's how they're measuring kids' performances. But you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to be, different." Okay, Brandon, if you prove to me that your kids are getting into college and succeeding in college, not just getting into college, because anybody could go to college, but succeeding in college, I won't push back on you. But a lot of times when we have these inner city kids, a lot of times, since they have not been prepped to do homework, know how to study, know how to take tests, they end up failing in college. That's why a lot of black men do not, graduate. They have the lowest, probably amongst the lowest graduation rate in college. So, I think it's funny. You guys put in the chat, let me know what you think. What is this?
Oh, and I said minimally $5 billion for the country. That's what I said.
Okay, I didn't want to play that. There's another post with Brandon Johnson that I thought it was absolutely hilarious, because he just thinks he's what do you want to call it? A trend, not even a trendsetter. He's like, this is him. He's almost like, "Oh, I'm so progressive. I'm, reinventing the wheel. I'm forging opportunities." Like, and all you're doing is forging people to be destitute and depend on the government.
To say something else. Thinking about my trajectory, it wasn't politics. In fact, I always wanted to be a public school teacher. That was the only job that I've ever dreamed of, and it is still the best job that I've ever had. And I just want to say something for the record. Public school teachers are not the enemy of democracy. That's right. That's right. And then I'll dare to say something else. Unions are not the enemy of democracy. Thinking about my trajectory, it wasn't politics. In fact, I always wanted to be a public school.
I think unions, and if we're specifically talking about teachers' unions, I think they're the enemy of the children and parents. Because if you really think about it, teachers' union, and I'm not saying the actual teachers. I believe teachers should have a teacher union. But, they put in administrative people as well in these teachers union. And I believe that the administration has actually tainted the teachers union, because they forge, or they put out there where we want to increase our salary by X, Y, and Z. And, their salary increase, and they meet, they force the city to meet their demands, or they'll walk off, and go on strike or whatever if these demands are not met. But on the other end, they should have a parents union. hey, if our kids are not increasing their score by certain percentage, or we don't have a certain percentage pass rate, proficiency rate, then we either X, decrease your income, or Y, fire you and find some replacement. So if they could have a teachers union, I believe they should have a parents. You know what? This is a good business idea. Parents union against teachers, not against teachers, but for teachers. So I think it's like they're against because you expect a salary, but you do not render any results. This guy, he expects a salary. He still get paid whether or not Chicago is in debt. What is it? $1 billion in debt. And he still expects a salary. He renders bad results. His results are there. Even the teachers union, their results are there, but they're bad. These kids can't read. These kids can't pass proficient math. So they expect, X, Y, and Z. So I think we should develop a parents union. You guys, let me know.
Teacher, that
I think we should. We need to organize that. Jim Miller said, remember, math is racist. Math is racist. Sounds stupid as hell and goofy as hell too. Pick me, dude. So yeah, that's your boy Brandon Johnson. And now Brandon Johnson is so funny. Remember last week I talked about Brandon Johnson and he was trying to get $100 million. No, it was $300 million. Now, then it was 150 or 100 or something like that. Now he's trying to get out $60 million. He's like, just give me some money. So he's trying to raise the taxes, the taxpayers, for their properties, $60 million. $60 million. And they have another who is Ronnie Reese? They said Brandon Johnson claims he didn't know about the Ronnie Reese allegations. The former office employee alleged that they were fired, faced retaliation after filing the complaints against Ronnie Reese. Remember, Ronnie Reese is the guy who they were saying he was doing like making advances towards different employees. Do you guys believe that Mayor Brandon Johnson did not know? Oh, no sound. I'm sorry. No sound. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry I couldn't hear the sound, but basically the video, let me see. Is this? Oh, you know what? I had you on the wrong thing. Share this. My bad. It says Brandon Johnson claims he didn't know about Ronnie Reese allegations. And this is his former employee. They fired him, but he was the guy that was doing, sex advances, sexual discrimination, race discrimination, and sexual advances. He was a big mess, and he fired a few people, and he placed them on a do not hire list. And they come to find out, if they didn't FOIA the request, they wouldn't have known that they was placed on this do not hire list.
Sexual harassment, sexism, and racism.
They are claiming they were fired and faced retaliation for speaking up. Political reporter Paris Schutz has more on growing turmoil in the mayor's office. Paris.
Yeah, Sylvia and Terrence, these 4 staffers worked in the communications department under Mayors Lightfoot and then Johnson. They say everything changed under the new administration when they were put under the authority of Ronnie Reese, the former communication director, facing a host of those allegations. Now, these staffers were fired and then put on the city's do not hire list, meaning they were ineligible to be hired anywhere else in city government. They say this was because they spoke out about Reese's alleged behavior.
We could have gone elsewhere. I don't think it needed to play out this way, and I think it's unfortunate. And I'm extremely grateful for Alderman Gilbert Villegas and Alderman Scott Wagasback for looking into this and looking to make a change.
Anyone that would call and ask about me, the first thing they would say is that I'm on the do not hire, and they're not going to extend on that. They're not going to say why. That's the first thing they're going to hear, and then they already made their assumptions about me. It completely ruined a future that I would have, and so it's not fair to me, and for the people behind me, it's not fair for them either.
4 employees in total speaking out. Now, Reese was let go by the mayor's office last week after a Freedom of Information request revealed numerous lengthy complaints of sexual harassment, hostile workplace, and racism, among other things. One of the workers was upset when the mayor's chief of staff, Christina Pacione-Zayas, recommended peace circles as a way to resolve the issue. Now, today, the city's Human Resources Commissioner testified that a request to put someone on the do not hire list could only come from one of 2 people in the mayor's office.
Just imagine you go to your boss and the boss's boss. You went to EEOC to make a complaint about sexual discrimination and sexual harassment. And they recommend, all we need is a peace circle. Like, no, ma'am. He keeps on trying to make unwanted advances towards me. He's calling me names.
Office, either the chief of staff or the mayor himself. And yesterday, Mayor...
Oh, let me rewind that. I want y'all to hear this.
Johnson says, mayor's office. Either the chief of staff testified that a request to put someone on the do not hire list could only come from one of 2 people in the mayor's office, either the chief of staff or the mayor himself. And yesterday, Mayor Johnson says he didn't know anything about complaints against Reese until these documents came to light just a few weeks ago.
There is a process that I inherited, and it is clearly evident that information was not fully disclosed due to a process that I inherited. And absent this FOIA request, it's not clear on whether or not the process would have or not have revealed all that which is in the file.
Now, all 4 of these employees have now been taken off that do not hire list. One now works for Alderman Gilbert Villegas, who, along with 32nd Ward Alderman Scott Waguespack, is calling on the city to change this do not hire policy. Waguespack intimated today that he expects a lawsuit to be forthcoming against the city by these former employees. Sylvia, a lot of questions still remain.
Do you guys believe that
Giving
he didn't
Tues-
know anything about these people being placed on a do not hire list? I'm going to give him grace. I'm going to say that, yeah, he probably didn't have any knowledge to what was going on. And, of course, hopefully Brandon Johnson is smart enough, like, okay, why did these people get hired if he actually knew these people? But not maybe because Brandon Johnson, he acts like his heads is stuck up in the clouds somewhere and he's in la la land. So maybe he don't give a shit. So he's probably not in tune with his staff. Now he just appointed a new chief of staff not too long ago. Her name is Christina Pacon Zayas. I guess that's the lady that we just saw. And if she's talking about we need to make a kumbaya circle on things that you could get sued from, he might want to find another chief of staff. He might want to find another chief of staff because that's ridiculous. You guys put in chat, let me know what you think. Sheriff says, isn't there a federal whistleblower protection law still current today? I believe it is. But some employers, they don't follow that. Look at, what's her name? Tiffany Henyard. She just fired people at will. Remember when the young lady spoke out against Andrew Holmes and she claimed that he sexually assaulted her during this Vegas trip, and instead of Tiffany doing the proper investigation, she fired her. She ended up firing her, and then they tried to ostracize the police officer who actually had some of the recording. And Las Vegas, they did not investigate, or they didn't look to bring charges against Andrew Holmes. Probably because if you really think about Las Vegas, they probably get that kind of stuff all the time. Oh, a girl get drugs and don't remember what's happening to her. So, how can we solve this crime? And you're in a different state. You didn't report it here. You in a different state. So they probably like, oh, one less case that we got to deal with. Anyway. Yeah, like Tiffany, does anyone record her being abusive on their phones? It's just weird, don't you think? And we know Tiffany threatened folks. Yes. You think they will have? See, I'm the person that will record. Now, I heard the boy, what's his name, Keith Freeman. He was a bully, and you couldn't bring your regular phone in, or they give you a phone to use for work. And frequently they would switch phones so you wouldn't have any text messages. So they were always changing out the phones, so if they text you something, a message, and a month later you think you saving the message, no, that he comes to your office and say, hey, I'm going to need that phone that we issued to you. And then they confiscate it and give you another phone. That's one of the tactics he was using. He also, he's very techie. He was going into people's emails and erasing their emails. But, you would think that somebody would have been smart enough to record Tiffany on their own personal phone of how she pops off and that's really abusive towards people. But I remember Dr. Nikita, she has a a video up that they posted on the trustees website or the YouTube page, and she gave a detailed encounter of why she quit. And she said Tiffany called her the B word. That's what she said. She was really hostile to her. And she went, one day, I guess the last day that she was supposed to come to work or didn't, or something happened. And she used the police officers to basically intimidate her, came to her house to get the computer, her work computer. So she was very abusive. That's why Carmen stated she never discusses work except on her on emails. Exactly, because she wants a paper trail. She don't need to see, we're not discussing over the phone. Just email it to me. And I guess Tiffany doesn't know how to use email, so she never emailed. She had her staff doing it for her. Tiffany got a downgrade. She had Keith Freeman. Keith Freeman seems like, even though he was shady, he knew how to, operate emails and keep up with stuff. He was actually an administrator. So she downgraded from Keith Freeman to Keith Price. Keith Price, only thing he knows how to operate is a fork and a spoon. I'll let y'all laugh on that. I ain't gonna laugh at my own jokes, but I think that was funny. Only thing Keith Price know how to operate is a fork and a spoon. So she got a downgrade anyway. Oh my goodness. And speaking of Tiffany Henyard, I want to see if she
This can be an opportunity for this team.
It's saying Tiffany Henyard to address media following Tuesday's caucus. So I guess she's supposed to address the media
Tiffany
today.
Henyard is holding a special meeting in Thornton Township at 2 p.m. She's expecting to address Tuesday's Democratic caucus, where she was not put on the ballot and lost her job as supervisor of Thornton Township.
That was a quick. Let's see if somebody go on live on it. Let's see if she is putting it on. And now we're about to be messy. See if she actually put it up. Let me see. Thornton Township. I don't see her in here. Let's see if she's on Facebook.
You will never procrastinate again once you understand this, because psychologists have recently discovered that the real reason
13 months after our first WGN Investigates report on questionable spending by South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard, it appears she has been forced off the ballot. Now, this involves just one of the two elected positions Henyard holds. Now her allies are calling the move illegal and vowing to fight. And let's be clear, the guy who engineered the move installed himself at the top of the ticket. Tiffany Henyard didn't even get the chance to speak before the Democratic Township committeeman dispatched her from the ballot in a simple voice vote. In seconds, the crowd of hundreds sang her out like a ball player who had just struck out.
This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
In an interview before last night's unusual caucus, Henyard cried foul, saying her supporters were stuck outside, while backers of the committeeman, Napoleon Harris, gathered inside. Harris is also a state senator who selected himself to run for township supervisor at the top of the Democratic ticket.
The process was followed and it came out the way it was supposed to.
It should have been a primary. It always has been in the history of Thornton Township. Always 10,000 residents come and vote for township government. Why do you think it changed? Because they can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls. But now when I bring the people out, you don't let them in? Make sense.
To me, there are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not, but the voters certainly should.
Bill Cadigan is a former state board of elections chairman who says the caucus system is legal in Illinois, as is holding multiple elected positions.
No, it does not look like good government, and it looks like more of the same in Thornton Township.
The two South Suburban governments Henyard runs have been in chaos since soon after WGN Investigates began reporting on her spending and abrasive leadership style. She and her entourage racked up more than $100,000 in travel, meals, and more. Her namesake cancer charity was shut down for failing to report how it spends money. Even after the FBI served subpoenas in April, the spending continued. One sparsely attended event cost taxpayers more than $85,000. Before last night's defeat, Henyard vowed not to be deterred.
The show will go on.
Her team says they're asking the state's attorney and Illinois Attorney General to investigate the legality of last night's raucous caucus. Henyard can run as a write-in candidate for township supervisor, but remember, she's also facing a big challenge to stay on as the mayor of Dalton. Lourdes?
Yeah, they call it raucous caucus. I don't see anything on here for what is it called? Her addressing the people at 2 p.m. But if it shows up, we'll probably talk about that tomorrow. I'll probably actually would go online just to talk about it because I think it's hilarious. Now back to that one, the other, I guess, former committee person. I guess for the Democrats. I think he is absolutely right. The perception, that's what I was asking yesterday. Perception. You had this special caucus. It was up to you to file for the primary. Now, you guys let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. You had this special caucus, Napoleon Harris, and it was up for you to file this primary, and you didn't file it on time, or I don't know what excuse he had. And if I'm actually right, is he supposed to file the caucus? And then, they nominated you, random guy nominated you, but the guy, you knew you was going to get nominated because you had a full slate. So, and then you hold the meeting and installed yourself. So is that kind of shady? They said it was legal. And like I said, if you read into their the codes and all that stuff, basically the Democratic caucus or Republican caucus, they could hold, they could tailor this event or make their own rules as they go, basically. It's not like, they have a scripted rules or scripted rules that they have to follow. So anyway, Cher said, I stated the record last night. Keith is losing his all-you-can-eat buffet. And he's a bully, Sandy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Q out of the DFW, thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you. Tiff is a master at keeping her hands clean. Yes, she is. Farouk, this is a clear case of election interference. There should be a primary. The people have to decide who they want to serve. The decision does not belong to the unelected officials to decide. Yeah, you know, if I was Napoleon Harris, I would have held a primary. You know, so it won't look like you didn't beat her. Because she could always go back. That's if she doesn't go to jail before then. She could always go back. You didn't really beat me. You just stopped my people from going in, and none of my people was able to actually vote. So she could always hold that over his head. Anyway, and like she said, they're afraid to, you know, actually go toe to toe with me because they know I will win. I don't know about that. I think they're tired of Tiffany Henyard. I don't think she will win, but you know, you don't want to give her more fuel to light her fire, because she knows how to conflate some stuff. Anyway, let's see what our last story. Oh, our last story, you guys, this is a doozy. I don't like talking about these types of things. I'm not going to give my opinion. This is just, I'm just relaying the information. So the videos that you are about to see are not the views and opinion of Chawanne Burns. This is just information, okay? Now, yesterday, SCOTUS listened to an oral argument in regards to kids that want to transition. Young kids. You might ask, and when I say young kids, I'm saying children under the age of 6. That's all I got to say about that. This is just information. I'm not going to give my opinion because I don't want YouTube to say I'm bullying people. So they gave this oral argument yesterday. And the guy that works for ACLU, he's a trans man. So he was a woman and now he's a trans man. His name is Chase Strangio. That's his name. This is a new name. He wasn't born with that name. This is a new name, Chase Strangio. I just think it's strange, but that his name would be Strangio, but that's his name. That's his name. So this is Chase speaking with let me get to the longer clip. This is Chase speaking with Jake Tapper, and he's basically explaining why they want to go in front of SCOTUS and present this oral argument. And they are trying to roll back the blocks from Tennessee law. So Tennessee just authored a bill and passed a bill to block children or minors from getting puberty blockers. Okay. So if you guys don't know about puberty blockers, they just basically block you from going through puberty. It does other things too. So if you were on these puberty blockers, you more likely don't go through puberty, one, and you can never experience an orgasm. You will never be able to have children. Okay, so you will never develop as a full-grown, basically, person. You know who was on puberty blockers? He has a video out, a documentary. Remember, do you remember Gary Coleman? Gary Coleman, he was on puberty blockers. And he was on puberty blockers because he received a liver transplant or something like that. And so for his liver to take, they had to put him on puberty blockers. So that's why his stunt growth, and he never was able to achieve becoming a man, even though he liked women or whatever. Matter of fact, if you listen to the documentary, it's kind of heartbreaking because his wife was telling him, she was pretty much mentally abusing him because, he didn't have the full package, and he wasn't really into the sex because he didn't have any desire. So that's what puberty blockers do to you. 100% of the time. It's not 99% of the time. No, 100% of the time in these puberty blockers are irreversible. Okay, so that's just a contextual thing to think about when you're listening to Chase. Another thing that you might want to keep in the back of your mind: they're talking about children. Okay, and they're going to use the word medically transition, and their medically transition children means puberty blockers, basically.
And what's happening here, it's not the kids who are consenting to this.
Chase Strangio. Chase, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So the case comes at a time when 26 states have passed laws restricting healthcare treatments for transgender youth, according to a CNN analysis of data from the nonprofit think tank Movement Advancement Project. So how do you plan to argue before the U.S. Supreme Court in a case that could have wide-ranging implications beyond the state of Tennessee?
Well, thank you for having me, Jake. And obviously, this is a critical inflection point for transgender people across the country. We're coming off of an election season where transgender people played an outside role in people's consciousness in terms of the way in which we were situated as a threat to others. And when we look at the map of states that ban this type of evidence-based healthcare, we went from 0 states that had these bans in 2020 to now more than half the country. So before the court tomorrow, the question is really a simple one as I see it. This is a law that bans medical treatment only when it is prescribed inconsistent with an individual's sex. Our argument is that treats people differently because of their sex, and therefore the court has to treat it like all other forms of sex discrimination, and that's why it's unconstitutional.
So attorneys representing the state of Tennessee told the U.S. Supreme Court, quote, if the government's theory holds, men who identify as women could claim constitutionally based access to women's bathrooms, women's locker rooms, and women's sports. Accepting that theory would perversely erode women's rights and jeopardize landmark statutes protecting women's equal access to schools, winners' podiums, and beyond. What's your response to that?
Well, I obviously disagree with that premise that allowing transgender women into women's sports or women's bathroom is a threat to women, but it is also not the question before the court in this case. And in fact, it is a totally independent question about whether a law that bans medical care for transgender adolescents discriminates against people based on sex versus these separate cases that preceded any of these healthcare bans will continue to be litigated in the courts regardless of the outcome here.
A lot of times I think you are a slicker when you talk this fast. Slow down your cadence. I know you're trying to get all your oral arguments out and to persuade people they should, feel like you or believe you. But essentially what he is saying that one does not have to do with the other. Banning based off of sex discrimination, banning you from taking these puberty blockers, does not open you up or privy you to use the bathroom, participate in sports, and do all other sorts of things based off this language. I totally disagree. And for a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, for a lawyer to say this does not open up a rabbit hole, because that's basically what the Jay Tapper is trying to convey or trying to get him to explain. For you to say this does not open up a rabbit hole to accept transgender students in bathrooms or women's facilities, and it actually erodes women's rights. That's absolutely false, because we know when you do an oral argument, they always bring up older cases, older victories. Oh, based off case such and such and such and such, the Supreme Court decide, or blah, 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 decide in this way. And this has the same scenario. This has the same parameters that we're arguing. Like I said, I'm just giving you the information. And tell me if I'm wrong. Lawyers, when they're trying to make an argument for their case, it doesn't matter if they were trying to make an argument if a person or a company is liable for causing harm to an employee or whatever. If they haven't seen a case recently, usually whoever's doing the research, they pull out old cases and refer to that case when making that oral argument. Let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction.
So that clearly is conflating a bunch of different questions. The question before the court tomorrow is about whether banning medical care, overriding the consent of parents, the recommendations of doctors is a violation of equal protection.
What do you say to physicians who are sensitive and supportive of trans kids, obviously don't want suicidal ideation, et cetera, but wonder if there is enough data as of now to prove that it is beneficial to allow these sort of treatments before the age of 18?
So I would say three things. And the first is we have decades of both clinical experience and research data showing that this is medical treatment that provides critical benefits to adolescents who need it. And so this is not new. This is not new medication. And so we have that information. We have long-term studies that track people for 5-6 years. The Supreme Court this week heard arguments in an FDA case in which the FDA referred to long-term as being 6 months of follow-up. Here we have years of follow-up. And so that's the first thing. And then the second thing I would say is nobody has to provide this medication to adolescents. These are not doctors being forced to provide this medication. These are doctors who are wanting to treat their patients in the best way that they know how, based on the best available evidence to us. And these are young people who may have known since they were 2 years old exactly who they are, who suffered for 6-7 years before they had any relief. And what's
when I was 2, I don't even remember when I was 2, but I'm just, reference when my children were 2. When they were 2, they were kind of stumbling around. They didn't really know how to walk really good yet. And, they ran and they actually, how you running forward, they're looking like this way. They smacked themselves into the wall. This how unintelligent children are at 2. My son, he wanted to be a dinosaur. One year during the pandemic, which was 4 years ago, so my youngest son was 4. There, that lot in the back where they have buildings now, or houses. They build up the lots just to pass time. I got a sand bucket and a the beach bucket and the thing that you sift the dirt with. I told my son, I said, let's go back outside or in our backyard in the wilderness and dig for dinosaur bones. He was 4 and he was amazed. And it will be like rocks. And my other son is like a pragmatic person and a realist. He's like, oh, those are not bones. That's just a rock. And I was so mad at him. Like, no, you're taking the fun out of it. But this is a 4-year-old child thinking like, oh, we are back in the old days digging for bones. He was so amazed. He literally thought we was digging for the dinosaur bones. So my question to you, do you think a child at 2 can make the cognitive decision or intelligent decision to say, yes, I am this way, and know it without even changing their mind? Or do you think it's the parents that are putting this ideal or idea in the child's mind? You guys put in the chat, just giving you information to think about.
Happening here, it's not the kids who are consenting to this treatment, it's the parents who are consenting to the treatment. And as a parent, I would say when our children are suffering, we are suffering. And these are parents who love their children, who are listening to the advice of their doctors, of the mainstream medical community, and doing what's right for their kids. And the state of Tennessee has displaced their judgment.
One thing about this guy, he looks really odd. I don't know if this hair is dyed, but he almost looked like a vampire. Those eyes are like, what is going on with this? What's going on? Is this his normal hair? The normal color of his hair? Because why is his eyes this way? Like, it doesn't look like he's healthy. You guys put in the chat, let me know what you think about that. So this is the day before he went before SCOTUS to have this oral argument. And of course, they have questions about, his oral argument. And I want to play this one clip. Yeah, this is it.
Gender status apply.
Okay, hopefully you could hear this. This is kind of low, but hopefully you could hear this.
Does the category of does transgender status apply to individuals who are gender fluid?
I think that the distinguishing characteristic is to have a birth sex that does not align with, or a gender that does not align with one's birth sex. So it may include people who have different understandings of their gender identity, but I think it is still the distinguishing characteristic of a birth sex and a gender identity that are incongruent.
Are there individuals who are born male, assigned male at birth, who at one point identify as female, but then later come to identify as male, and likewise for individuals who are assigned female at birth, at some point identify as female, identify as male, but later come to identify as female? Are there not such people?
There are such people, I agree with that, Justice.
So it's not an immutable characteristic, is it?
Well, I think people's understanding of it shifts, but the evidence shows that there is at least a strong underlying basis. And I think the normative reason for that particular consideration is whether or not this is something that someone
should or could change and whether they should have to change it in order to receive constitutional protections. And I think transgender status squarely fits within that.
So, you know, he was basically trying to, or I think that was Justice Alito asking those questions. Okay, this other clip I want to share with you guys too. This is Justice Samuel Alito again. That might have been Justice Brett Kavanaugh answering or asking those questions to him, but this is Justice Alito. They're trying to establish what is the definition of transgender.
I, of course, acknowledge, Justice Alito, that there is a lot of debate happening here and abroad about the proper model of delivery of this care and exactly when adolescents should receive it and how to identify the...
You guys, hopefully you could hear it. Put it in the chat. I want to make sure you can hear it.
Adolescents for whom it would be helpful. But I stand by that there is a consensus that these treatments can be medically necessary for some adolescents, and that's true no matter what source you look at. You mentioned both the CAS report and Sweden, but neither of those
can
jurisdictions...
be medically necessary for some minors, but for the general run of minors, do you dispute the proposition, in fact, that in almost all instances, the judgment at the present time of the health authorities in the United Kingdom and Sweden is that the risks and dangers greatly outweigh the benefits? Do you dispute that?
I do dispute that, because if you actually look at how those jurisdictions are addressing this issue, they have not outright banned this care. The CAS report says at multiple points that this care can be medically indicated for some transgender adolescents. And of course it's true that they have called for a more individualized approach to these issues and have questioned whether it should be readily applied to all adolescents as a matter of course.
Is it not true that in England, I'm sorry to interrupt, but time is running out, that the National Health Service some months ago limited the prescription of puberty blockers to adolescent males who are over the age of 16 and are already on estrogen, but for those who are under the age of 16, it's allowed only for experimental purposes. Is that not true?
So the approach in the UK right now is to allow hormone therapy for anyone 16 and older. And with respect to puberty blockers, the UK has restricted new prescriptions outside of research settings. But the CAS implementation plan itself makes clear that if a medical team determines that these medications are necessary for a particular patient, they will be provided. And that is
the restriction that I mentioned was imposed by the British government some months ago. It was reaffirmed by the current Labour government, was it not? It was upheld by the High Court of Justice as based on sufficient medical evidence. Isn't all of that true?
I believe that all of that's true. It's outside the record in this case, and so I haven't myself confirmed everything that you just cited, which wasn't before the district court in this case. But let me make a couple of additional points. To the extent that you think that this needs to be taken into account in the application of heightened scrutiny, there's a time and a place for that, and it's with record evidence on remand. We think the court here just needs to recognize the sex-based classification in this statute and send the case back. If the court wants to go ahead and look at what's happening in Europe, the UK has not categorically banned this care. Sweden, Finland, and Norway, the other jurisdictions that my friends point to, have not banned this care. And I think that's because of the recognition that this care can provide critical, sometimes life-saving benefits for individuals with severe gender dysphoria.
Thank you, counsel. Justice Thomas, anything further? Justice Alito? Well, in your opening brief, you did not mention any of these European developments, and in your reply brief, is it not true that you just relegated the CAS report to a footnote?
So, Justice Alito, with respect to the developments, there has been no change in the law that I'm aware of in Sweden, Finland, and Norway. Each of the medical authorities in those states has called for an individualized approach to care. They've said it shouldn't be routinely applied, but they have not changed their laws to do anything like what Tennessee is doing here, which is to categorically ban it no matter the need. With respect to the CAS report, that isn't in the record in this case, but we have discussed that report in our reply brief. And as I just noted, it likewise recognizes the need for this care in individual cases. The UK has not banned the care, and Hillary Casp is not calling for such a ban.
Okay, so I wanted you guys to hear that. This Elizabeth Prologer, a U.S. Solicitor General, and I guess she's helping the Strangio out with the case. Okay, I guess they're arguing it together. I want you guys to realize that when they're talking about the care, they're not determining what the problem is. That doesn't even come up until later. And so they're not determining the problem. So gender dysphoria, a person that's being convicted of child, molestation or child pornography or whatever. Sometimes, like I said, with Gary Coleman, he was prescribed puberty blockers because he received a transplant. So none of that they put in their argument. Only thing that they put in their argument, in these certain countries, they have not banned this type of treatment. And the treatment is puberty blockers, but they don't determine the treatment for what. Okay, so I want you guys to realize what they're saying. Now I'm going to go back to Twitter, because at the end of them talking about whatever, and let me see, where is it at? Share this page. Now, this is Justice Alito. Their main thing is to, and this is the ACLU, their main purpose is to stop them from banning hormones and puberty blockers for transgender. They use they're saying this is life-saving care. Reason why it's life-saving care, because it stops with the unaliving ideation of minors. Now, I never heard of a young child saying, hey, I wish I was, unalive. Like a really young child, like a two-year-old or 5-year-old, maybe 6 or 7, I think, maybe. And I think that's when if they're doing that, they might need to see a psychiatrist. But so Justice Alito, he brings out a point, okay? And it says, Alito pulled up page 195 of a case report, showing that child sex changes don't actually prevent unaliving. ACLU attorney Chase Strangio admits in the response that there's no evidence that these procedures actually reduces unaliving, because it doesn't. If you really think about it, you have dysmorphia, body dysmorphia. And if you look at some of the studies, and it's a high percentage, some of the studies, when they experience like body dysmorphia and they went through, and they feel like they're unalivable thoughts or whatever. And, if you look at the study, it shows that even when they go through these transitions, they still have these types of thoughts. So I think Chase and this other lady, I'm not for sure, she's arguing for it. I guess she's trying to get it kicked back to Tennessee. But I believe that they're trying to put it all in one bucket. Hey, we need this because this is life-saving care. And they're trying to make the case, well, you're being discriminatory because you will let a boy take it if his voice didn't drop. Well, he's not experiencing body dysmorphia, and he's not experiencing an unaliving type of ideation. So anyway, I was going to play this clip, but he used the S word a lot, and I know YouTube doesn't like it. So I'm not going to play it. But he's basically saying, yeah, your argument really doesn't have any basis. Now, I want to play, because we might have some liberals on the phone. This is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, listen to her. It's her analogy of banning these puberty blockers, or making a law on these puberty blockers to ban it, is just as like banning interracial marriage. This is what she had to say.
Being drawn by the statute. That was sort of like the starting point. The question was whether it was discriminatory because it applied to both races and it wasn't, necessarily invidious or whatever. But, as I read the statute here, the case here, the court starts off by saying that Virginia is now one of 16 states which prohibit and punish marriages on the basis of racial classifications. And when you look at the structure of that law, it looks in terms of, you can't do something that is inconsistent with your own characteristics. It's sort of the same thing. So it's interesting to me that we now have this different argument, and I wonder whether Virginia could have gotten away with what they did here by just making a classification argument the way that Tennessee is in this case.
Yes, I think that's exactly right, that there is absolutely a parallel between any law that says you can't act inconsistent with a protected characteristic and in all other contexts.
So they're using the word protected characteristic, and this is based off of race, sex, age, and any type of, some type of characteristic can that will lead to a discrimination. So Ketanji Brown is trying to parallel this, the language that they put in the Tennessee law, parallel to, I guess, a language that they written back in the day where it was against the law to marry outside your race. I'm just giving you information. I'm not going to give you my opinion. You guys put it in chat. Let me know what you think about that. Now, another thing she says, it says Biden Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown says there's no difference between giving testosterone to boys and girls. Therefore, a ban is discrimination. Remember, Ketanji Brown, when she was getting confirmed, they asked her, what is a woman? And she could not give the definition of a woman. Okay, this is the same Ketanji Brown that they decide to appoint. And she has a lifetime appointment.
That it operates on the body in the same way. So what's your basis for saying they're not the same?
I don't think it operates on the body in the same way. Take testosterone. If you give a boy with a deficiency testosterone because he has constitutional delayed puberty, that allows him to go through and develop the reproductive organs associated with being a male. If you give it to a girl, it renders the girl infertile. So we have 8 to 12-year-olds being
I'm sorry.
asked.
I thought your reasons for them being different was that you said they were for different purposes. I'd heard you say at the beginning the reason those two are different is because one wants them to transition and the other wants them for some medical purpose.
Well, to go back to my example in the introduction, I don't think anyone would say using morphine to assist suicide is the same treatment as using morphine to manage pain. It's the same drug, just like it's the same drug here, but they're being used for fundamentally different purposes. They have different effects on the body. And once you take out and you recognize medical reality, then there is no argument that our law differentiates between treatments for males and females.
Can I ask you about one?
remember, these people, so you have Ketanji Brown, of course, she's on the more liberal side, but this is the same woman that could not determine what is a man. So they're trying to, I believe, conflate both, puberty blockers or testosterone or whatever, boy and girl. They do have different outcomes. If you give a girl testosterone that she shouldn't have in her body, more likely she will have some type of something, I think it's called osteoporosis. They will go through menopausal, like he said, render infertile, and they go through menopausal at a very early age. Now, I would be remiss to see what's the girl's name, or the guy's name, the trans man, Chase. I would like to see her 10 years from now, just to see how she looks, and as far as her health, because there's a lot of cases, more than maybe 65 to 70%, when they are taking testosterone. Now you're transitioning from a man to, from a female to a man. That's when it's very detrimental to your body. That's is very harmful. Now, I haven't seen any men that transition to female, how it works on their body, but I know they go through a lot of issues if they decided to go through the bottom surgery. I know they experience a lot of issues, but I'm not for sure if what type of diseases or illnesses comes up when they're pumping their body with estrogens, to have a more female appearance. So you guys put in the chat, let me know what you think. I have more that I want to share with you in regards to this. So Matt Walsh, he's he started this whole wave of combating transgenderism, and they were both out in front of the SCOTUS building yesterday talking about it. And this is his speech. He said, "Here's my speech outside of SCOTUS. As expected, the trans activists tried to sabotage us by being loud and obnoxious. That's all they can do now. They're losing on every front. They can only scream impotently into the void while we burn their ideology to the ground. Fine with me." The views and expression from Matt Walsh is not the views and opinions of Chawanne Burns. I'm just playing this video, okay?
They trust us, the adults. All right, great. Thank you, guys. We are all here on this cold day because we recognize three very basic truths. First, that biology is real. It is immutable. It is not subject to the whims of any individual or government or medical organization. Men are men, women are women. That's all there is to it. You cannot change a person's biological identity. You cannot change their sex, and you should not try. Second, that the most essential and fundamental duty of any society is to protect their children. A country that cannot or will not protect its children is a country that deserves to die and will. Children are innocent and helpless. They know very little about themselves, very little about the world around them. They rely on us for clarity and guidance and protection. They trust us, the adults, implicitly. So when they're confused and scared, they look to us to be the ones who light the way and lead them down the right and safe path. It is our moral obligation to be the source of wisdom and security that they need and that they deserve. If we will not fulfill that obligation, then we are worse than useless. The third truth is this, that gender ideology, the radical leftist doctrine that claims that girls can be boys and boys can be girls, and that such a impossible transition can be made possible through irreversible drugs and surgery. Gender ideology is deeply sinister. It is a unique threat to children in particular. It is one of the greatest and most incomprehensible evils ever visited upon children in the whole history of the human race. These are the truths that bring us to this spot on this day, that biology is a fact, that we have a duty to protect our children, that the trans agenda denies the fact of biology and is a distinct threat to our children. We affirm these truths. We call on the Supreme Court to affirm them too. Now, the other side claims that this is a case about rights. They say that the Tennessee law infringes on the rights of so-called trans kids. There are a few problems with that claim. First of all, there's no such thing as a trans kid. That doesn't exist. Those kids are not trans. They are confused, and their confusion has been exploited by quacks and abusers. They are abuse victims. They are not trans kids. Second, the law in Tennessee isn't banning kids from doing anything. It's banning doctors from causing permanent damage to kids. This is a ban targeting doctors and parents who are abusive and who are themselves targeting children. So what the trans activists, what the people over there are actually claiming is not that kids have a right to be castrated, but that doctors have the right to castrate them. They are fighting for the right of adults to abuse and harm and mutilate and permanently damage and destroy children. That's what all those people over there are fighting for. It's disgusting, it's evil. Now, third, finally, with all that said, I actually agree with the premise, sort of. This case is about the rights of children. It's about the right of a child to be protected from the gender butchers. That's what it's about. Children have the constitutional right, the human right, the God-given right to live and grow and learn about themselves and the world without being indoctrinated and exploited by people who reject the fundamental realities of existence. Children have a right to go through phases, to have moments of confusion and discomfort in their own bodies, just like every generation of children before them, without that confusion being seized upon as a pretense to do irreparable harm to their bodies. So to the trans activists over there claiming that this is all about the rights of children, I say again, yes, you're right, it is. They have a right to be protected from you. Children have a right to be protected from all of those people over there who want to harm them and damage them and destroy them. And they will be. They are going to lose. They are losing right now. We are not going to let them harm our children. This case is just the beginning of the fight. It is not the end. We are not going to rest until every child is protected, until trans ideology is entirely erased from the earth. That's what we're fighting for, and we will not stop until we achieve it. Thank you.
Okay, so there you have it. Matt Walsh, he came out and spoke against this whole ideology of messing with the kids, basically. That's basically what they're doing. So now, I said this was the last subject, but Lexi put in the chat that Critical Smoker is live at Thornton Township. And I started it from basically when she is about to talk. So you guys, if you're not subscribed to Critical Smoker channel, go over there and give him a subscribe and make sure you like the live channel. If you, I mean, you can go over there if you want to, but so this is her. She said she was gonna wait a few minutes before she start, because I guess she's trying to wait to see how many people are going to show up.
Those are things that are at stake. Township government is at stake, and they're not telling you that. And what I mean by that is we have bills that have not been paid for over 2 months. And every single time we request a special meeting to just take care of the everyday essentials, the business is not getting done, let alone getting heard. You guys see myself, Trustee Darlene Gray Evers, the clerk, Loretta Wells, and also the attorney, Eric We all show up here, President, on the Deputy Clerk took here. We all show up here every single time, despite how we feel, what we think, or our opinion. And that's what you're supposed to do when you're an elected official. You guys elected us to do the will of the people. And when we don't show up to take care of everyday business, that is a problem for me, a problem for the residents. So I hope that people are seeing it for what it is. Unfortunately, our board has been manipulated by the powers to be, and I've been saying this, and I'm continuing to say this. I told you that the board gets their order from Thaddeus Jones. He's the mayor of Calumet City, and Napoleon Harris. He's the senator and the committeeman. I keep telling you this, and you need to pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard. Right now, we have essential services that are at stake. One, being the insurance. I have mentioned this at a previous special meeting that no one attended. I have scheduled several special meetings and no one has attended, but now we are in jeopardy of not being able to do the services here for our residents. When we don't have insurance, that means that you, residents, media, cannot come in the building because we don't have any insurance. So if you fall, trip, or anything of that nature, how do we cover it? Also, the rides for our seniors, and that's my problem that I have with all of this gridlock, this political theater. How do we pick you up? How do we take you to your doctor appointment? And that's what you guys are not seeing. You listen to all the smoke screens and all the smear campaigns, but you're not looking at the people that's really doing all the mess being committed here at Thornton Township. So that is at stake. I'm going to read to you a couple emails, and I want to tell you how illegal and corrupt the two individuals are, Trustee Carmen Carlier and Trustee Chris Gonzalez, and the people who I named that are their puppet masters. They send emails when we have been told by the attorney, told by the AG that you cannot and will not do a consent vote, but yet they still say do a consent vote. That is illegal, guys. Did you hear me? Illegal. We cannot do anything as it relates to sending a vote via email. So when they ask you to do that, you should say, hey, why are y'all saying to do something illegal through email? You guys should always come here and say yes or no as represent to your vote, because it doesn't matter what someone feels about someone up here. What matters is you came here to do your job, you executed your vote, and you said yes or you said no. You're entitled to that. And understand this, as you know, we are down one trustee. So what is the reason really why they're not coming to the board meeting, let alone being told not to show up, right? So if they don't show up, you cannot move anything in Thornton Township. And that was their plan, to not move things in Thornton Township. Me and Trustee Darlene Gray Evers, we vote for everything for the people. Everything. If they show up, it will be 2-2. That means that you still get your wish, trustees that's not here. You still gridlock government, nothing still moves, but you are here for the record saying yes or no. So I'm telling residents, enough is enough. Stop with the mess. Call a spade a spade. You got individuals that's literally controlling this board. Not me, not Trustee Darlene Gray, because they cannot control us, but they are controlling the other two. Everybody has been making time for what they want. People have been going to other people's board meetings, but yet you send an email to Thornton Township stating you cannot attend, that you're out of town. You went out of town last night when you was at District 149 board meeting, Trustee Chris Gonzalez. Y'all make time for mess, but won't make time for the business that needs to be conducted here at Thornton Township. That is the problem. That is the facts. That is what's going on right now in your own backyard. So, right here, Chris Gonzalez wrote, he is sending a consent vote to renew the insurance here at Thornton Township. I just told y'all the laws. We have to do it in person. We have to vote here. We cannot do a consent. If that's the case, nobody ever go to work. They won't. They will never come to work because they can vote via email. You cannot do that. Impossible. Here's another one. And this is the one from Stephanie Wiedemann. When I first came here, she reported to the AG office about consent votes and didn't want us no longer to do consent votes. But guess what? Before I came, that's all they did. That's all they did was a consent vote here at Thornton Township where they voted through email. But what I tell you, when it's them, it's okay. When we do it, it's not okay. So guess what? We comply with what the rules are, which is we can no longer utilize consent vote through email, which they were doing anyway. So that's the AG office right here. So in news, I got all this, so when y'all tell y'all story, y'all get y'all facts straight. I give you a copy of everything I'm reciting so you get it right. I also have a whole list of things about the insurance. From day one, when we knew that we needed to renew the insurance, we placed it on the agenda. Day two, we also told them again, we need to come to the board meeting, which was the regularly scheduled board meeting. Day three, we said, hey, y'all ain't show up. We're gonna do a special meeting. Then we did another special meeting. Then we did another special meeting. It's like, come on guys, when y'all gonna see who the problem is? Because it's not us. We constantly are calling for special meetings and they are not coming here to do the work. It is a ton of bills that's due. It's a ton of services that will be cut for non-payment. And it's not because we're not showing up, because we're here to pay the bills. It's not just the insurance, it's the bills too. What that means is your food, residents. So we was not able to basically deliver food to some of our seniors this week. That's the stuff y'all not recording or reporting because they didn't pay bills. And the vendors say they're not gonna supply us with food if we do not pay their bill. And that's a problem. So I need you to wake up and call people out on their BS because right now, enough is enough. And our people are suffering. No matter how you try to do harm to me, supervisor, and try to stop me from progress, you're not stopping me. You're stopping the people of Thornton Township because they come here to get the services and we are supposed to dish the services out. Under my leadership, we have surpluses. Y'all never had surpluses, but yet y'all keep all the money in the building so that you guys can utilize it and give it to your friends. I say no. I say give the people the money. I have put on the agenda several times to give back property tax refunds to all Thornton Township residents. Yet, instead, the board members walked out. Remember, Chris Gonzalez walked out when it was time to vote for such a thing. And that's a shame because he know how that program worked. Y'all gave it out when Frank Zuccarelli was here. What's making it any different now? And this is what I mean about gridlocking government. We have to stop it. You got people around here doing illegal things, and every time I tell it to y'all, y'all don't believe me until it happens to you. Then you say, oh, she was telling the truth all this time. That's why I'm not afraid to say it on the mic. That's why I'm not afraid to name drop and tell you who the people are. I am not. But this too shall pass, right? But until then, we must take care of the business. And we're not taking care of the business because the Board of Trustees are not showing up. I'm gonna read to you the timeline as it relates to the consent emails from your trustee, Carmen Carlisle. 11/24/24. Carmen requested a consent email to be approved for the insurance. 11/26/2024. The lawyers, the auto law firm, stated that cannot be done. That is illegal. On 11/27/2024, the lawyers reiterated to the trustee that that cannot be done. That is illegal. This is all through email. But this is the illegal stuff that they keep trying to push that y'all don't hear about or see about because everybody want to do it their way and not the right way. On 12/2, the lawyers responded once again stating you cannot do this. This is not allowed. This is how many times they keep trying to do the illegal act. And I keep on inserting myself saying, guys, let's just do it the right way. Let's call for a special meeting. Let's just come here and vote. That's all you have to do. Cast your vote and go. There's no reason why no trustee should not be here. They got elected by you guys, some appointed, and then they get paid by you guys. But yet they're not coming to actually do the work that's required. On 12/5, Carmen asked again through email to do a consent vote. And I go on. On 12/5, she asked the clerk to issue a consent email. On 12/5 again, she asked again for a consent email. This is how many emails we get in a day. I don't got time to go back and forth on emails. I don't do that. So what I'm saying to you is, but they keep sending emails to do the illegal act when all they have to do is show up and vote. That's it. It's that simple. But yet y'all missing it. People putting out false information, misleading information, misguiding the residents of Thornton Township. But y'all smarter than that. And this is why I sit here and I come to the meeting that I schedule because it's important business that needs to be taken. But yet I talk to y'all because I want y'all to still hear from your supervisor. Because the leader gonna always show up when they don't. I'm always standing in the fire when they won't.
Quick question.
Okay, one second. We're gonna take Q&A after I get done. Even though it's not a meeting, it's just me giving my speech, just so we clear. There's no quorum, so there's no meeting. So no actions will be taken. All I'm doing is putting my statements out so that the public hear from me. And I'll be doing a press conference after this. Next, I got all the emails just to show you guys the things that's written in bodies from different people. When they send these emails, I got a ton of them, but I want to give it to you so you can actually follow what's been happening here in Thornton Township. Also, they put on here something about it wasn't a crisis. This is a crisis, guys. Despite what others may think or how they may feel. The crisis is this. If we don't have insurance, you lay off a ton of residents here at Thornton Township. A ton of them. And if you lay those residents off, how do they pay their bills? They gonna soon need GA. They gonna need help with their light, their gas, their water, their mortgages, their rent. So that's how important it is. But you don't see it for what it is. And if the lawyers advise me come tomorrow, we will be shutting down. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on them to advise us of our next steps because they said no insurance, we cannot operate. And I understand, but I'd held off this long and I kept on trying, and still no avail, nothing. They still came here to basically take care of their business. Nothing has happened. So I wanted to point that out. This other one that I have right here is another thing as it relates to the insurance. I just want to point that out, but I'm going to give this to the media, the whole entire timeline, so you will know what to expect and know what has happened here at Thornton Township. Couple things on the agenda, and I just want to recite these for the record. One, the most important one, to pay all the bills here at Thornton Township. So when they sit here and they send something out saying, hey, I sent something out, I did a consent vote to pay bills. We cannot do that. Again, I keep repeating it. We cannot pay bills through consent. You must show up in the public to vote to pay bills. Next, the big one, the one that I think they're running from, the one they're afraid of, is to give you, the residents, the $2.2 million property tax refund, 100% property tax refund to all homeowners throughout Thornton Township. They do not want to be on record saying no. Because all they have to do is come in and just say no. If you don't want to give y'all the money, then say no. Because we're going to say yes. It's $2.2 million. Because we got a surplus over $4 million in the GA fund. So my job is to make sure I make a way and I give it back to the residents of Thornton Township. Next, bonuses for all staff. Everyone has been crying and complaining about they need more money, they need bonuses, and we put it on the agenda. Now it's up to the board to make you whole to my employees. I've tried several times, you've seen this on the agenda, and yet to no avail, nothing. They skip it, they pass it, they will not give you guys the bonus, which is also in the budget. We put the budget on there. We actually put them to pass the budget since March. Still, this is December. Y'all know we're going to go in the next budget cycle. No budget. So I'm tired of the blind game and people not taking responsibility for their action of not doing what they're supposed to do. Next on here, we had the insurance, which I just spoke to. And another big one is the audit. It was an audit, which was a forensic audit that they voted for. They voted for this. Did y'all know that? The trustees voted to do a forensic audit for Carmen Carlisle and Keith Freeman credit card. And they did not show up to basically now go to the next step, which is to hire the company to do the forensic audit. What are you running from? What are you hiding? You voted to move forward. So if you voted to move forward, let's move forward so we can handle the business. Let's go. This is what we need to do. So that's on the agenda. The last thing, the last and the most important thing, so that we will not no longer be gridlocked, is the vacancy. The appointment for Jerry Jones' seat. That is on the agenda. We didn't put it on here several times so that we can move forward and not be gridlocked. Have someone else come to a board meeting and they can vote, like I said, yes or no, or abstain, or vote present, or whatever you choose. It's your right. But show up and vote. That's what we asked for. If you're going to be out of order, y'all can leave. This is not a board meeting. This is not a board meeting. This is me giving my report. So please, if you don't want to hear it, the door is there. So thank you so much. back to what I'm saying, as it relates to the vacancy, they would not show up for a vacancy. And all they have to do is basically show up, vote for someone to take the spot and move forward. That's it. That's all we had to do, guys. But no one wanted to do that. No one. No one. So all these things are on here for a reason. And I just want people to understand how things work, how things go. And I just want people to understand one thing too. When you guys are out of order or disrupting a meeting, you know it's a law that say that you cannot disrupt anything. You cannot disrupt a meeting. You will be removed from a meeting. So you can stop all that. I don't have to leave, I this, I that. If you do not want to hear it, the door is there. You can always go. So I just want to make sure that people understand that. I want to put that out there for those that don't understand how a organized meeting goes. So after the appointment, you will hear us talking about other things. We got other things that's really important, and I'm gonna tell that to the media myself. That way we can clear this room and I can handle my business. Because right now I'm just here to talk to you, to tell you everything that's at stake. And to the news, I have everything here. If you want the documents, I will give you every piece of evidence. So when you report it the correct way. And you don't have any misleading information. Because the people like to just lie and don't tell you their part of what they did as relates to gridlocking government, which I don't appreciate. Residents, I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for coming out. Mike, KP, if y'all got something to say, you can go to the mic now and make your plea. I know KP has a couple things you wanted to point out, and you can talk about the letter that you did post, and that would be great. All right, go ahead, Mike.
The problem that I have is township business is all out.
Can you speak in the mic?
The township's business is all out in the community. You have an individual by the name of Cloud that is continually to post emails from this governing body and making it public to the public. I know that certain things should not go out because it is a confidentiality thing. And Nikita posted today that they wouldn't come to the meeting because there would be a consent vote by email. So it continues to show that there are outsiders in this township that are controlling the trustees. Now, Trustee Gonzalez stood up after the caucus and said, now I can do my job. But when are you going to do your job? He is not here present. We have objections for tomorrow. I wonder, will Mr. Gonzalez be here for the objections to be held for supervisor, trustee, clerk, township, highway commissioner, assessor? I wonder, will he be here tomorrow to hear our objections? Because we did receive email that there will be an electoral board hearing here tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I'm just questioning these things that are going on. Do Miss Nikita Cloud work for the township? Why is she sending out documentation showing that she represents Thornton Township trustees? When was that vote taken? When was she hired as a media consultant? She continues to put out information that can harm this township. When you talk about services not being able to be given to citizens, this is crazy. You have food that citizens are depending on. You talk about their lights, the gas. Come on, it's a lot of things. And now the township is at risk of being shut down. These are the things that the news need to post. Because our community, believe it or not, they are in need. They're in need. If you looked at the food giveaway, there was over 3,000 residents in line that need assistance. The trustees need to come do their job. My question is, what can we as residents do? Can we file a lawsuit to have those two trustees removed? Because they will not come to meetings. Because they cannot miss a certain amount of meetings according to the statute with the township. You can't miss so many meetings in a row. They've missed so many meetings since Trustee Jerry Jones resigned. This is ridiculous. And we talk about who is controlling this. We saw it at the caucus. Many residents should have saw it at the caucus. Who controlled this government? You should have saw it. It's embarrassing. We cannot get things done. There's a gridlock here in our township.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank everyone for taking time out that day to come out. We are at a dire situation right now in Thornton Township. The food pantry will not be able to distribute food boxes to the seniors that we deliver to 4 days out of a 5-day week, due to the fact that the bill has not been paid to the suppliers of the food. So I'm expecting today to be the last day that we'll even be able to give our residents the boxes. You have to really understand what's at stake here. I understand politics, I understand people not liking people, but you're here to do a job. If it's something on the agenda that you are not, you don't approve of, you can simply vote no. To say you're not coming to meetings because the agenda is not one way, that's really not how government works. You have the opportunity to vote no. If this 5-member board doesn't have 3 affirmative votes, nothing can pass anyway. So they can easily stop whatever they don't want to address. It's obvious that they don't want to address the actual topic and vote no to a topic because they have the ability to do that. I think
You out of order. Don't go back and forth with her. Just make your statement.
Please let me do that for her and her viewers. The order that she has against me clearly states that we can be in the same room in the workplace. So stop that. I didn't call her. Y'all call people out their name every day. So I'm gonna go.
Okay, well, ma'am, you out of order. Just finish your thing so we can finish. Finish your, ladies, do that outside. Go
I
ahead.
did that for her viewers.
Go ahead.
The order clearly states that she can come here.
All right, finish, KP.
So you're a distractor. That's all you are.
Yes, you is.
So I'm gonna stay focused like I asked you to do. This is shameful. It's shameful that people would jeopardize not only residents of Thornton Township's ability and needs to have food, but maybe even worse than that. When we don't have this insurance, basically after today, and the seniors that depend on the transportation department, Tony left, for them to get to dialysis, some things are more important than politics and personal vendettas. So with the news, I really hope you all take this information, because just like everything they're putting out on the news, you all don't give us the opportunity to counter it and prove through emails the facts. We have the facts. So make sure that you all get all the information. Please just pursue the truth. And as elected officials, you're supposed to serve the people, not personal agendas. And I don't think it gets worse than stopping seniors from being able to go grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, dialysis, the ability to get food, and these are the matters that should be addressed. So thank you, Mayor, for being so strong, Supervisor. I'm gonna stand with you. I know you said you had a comment. So thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for educating the people that don't know what's at stake. So thank you.
Ms. Gray, what I noticed in a video meeting was that Chris Gonzalez was present at a school district 149 meeting, but he's not present here at this meeting. The trustees do have the opportunity to come to the meeting and also not appoint whatever appointment Tiffany Henyard wants to make. And so ma'am, you drive from the northwest suburbs to make your comments, but please allow me to make mine, please. I know you drive a long way. All right, you know I keep information. So behave. Now,
She not a president.
And so let me continue, please. It's alarming and ridiculous, and you were absolutely correct when you cited that Carmen Carlisle has a restraining order. She has in fact had that restraining order since August 19th of 2024, and it plainly states that he can be present at board meetings Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay,
And
no
so-
back and forth.
And so when that environment is created, what you do with a restraining order is you follow up with the police. And then the police deal with whatever harassment comes after a restraining order, and then he will be arrested. But what you don't do is not show up to a board meeting. Ma'am, you provided her personal security to her car, so why is she afraid? I have video of you stating, we're gonna, what I did. Produce it, please.
Okay, guys, okay, go ahead, can you finish your statement so we can end this?
No.
Here talking about pulling out a
Please
gun.
Okay, guys.
Doing that around
Please let her commit that slander.
Yeah.
Let her commit that
Go ahead, finish your statement and we're gonna wrap this
And
up.
so that's a very serious issue. And so Jerry Jones quit. To my understanding, he's the treasurer. I had questions about the $14.6 million that's held in cash assets. What does he have to do with that money? And I also want to know, because Stephanie Wiedemann stated a while back that the supervisor has the authority to write as many $3,000 checks as she wants without cap and without board approval. So if you have those powers, I highly advise that you implement them in providing the services for the residents of Thornton Township. And that would be all. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. All right, okay.
In the presence of 2 or 3 witnesses, okay, the Lord will hear us, all right? Now, I'm addressing one thing, Chris Gonzalez, okay, and not being here. I was at the caucus, and Chris Gonzalez was there with the young lady. I don't know who the young lady was, but he's always talking about security. He's afraid of this, the exits and everything else. Anybody else that was there, I got there about just after 4 o'clock, saw the packed caucus and all of the things that were going on. And the problems the Homewood police were saying that we're not here to run this or whatever, but how they blocked Tiffany Henyard's supporters. That's when they got involved. Okay, but Chris Gonzalez cannot lie to us any longer and say that this is a problem here. Even though this young lady's talking about pulling out guns and whatever, everything like that. Security is right on it. So why isn't he here? Okay? Now, I'm a resident, Thornton Township, not only that, but I'm running for office myself. No way I can vote for Chris Gonzalez. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, because I talked to him, I asked, wait a minute, all of these meetings you missed, you here at the caucus with this young lady, and you're not afraid of all of these people all around having this search? I got that on tape right here with the Homewood police. Did you search anyone for knives, guns, or anything like that? Where the exits are? Did you empty the building? Okay, after your so-called political fundraiser and all of this stuff, to have an organized caucus in here with only Thornton Township residents, they didn't do that. Not only that, but they allowed children to stay in there and yell yay or nay. So I'm sorry, I don't really call people out by names or anything, but I'm done with Chris Gonzalez with that lie. The other young lady, whatever, I reached out to try to get her side because there's 2 sides to everything, and she hasn't responded. So we're open to your response, and thank you for hearing me.
All right, thank you so much. So that concludes my statement or our statements. I thank you for coming out. Unfortunately, as you can see, once again, it's gridlock. No action will be taken this evening, but I just wanted the lawyer to basically confirm that we cannot utilize consent vote through email. Can you just educate the people on that, please?
Yeah, there's no board action that can be taken by email by any of the trustees. If there's debt to be incurred or expenses to be made, they have to be voted on in person at a regular board meeting.
All right, I think maybe that'd be better. You heard from the lawyer and not from my lips. So now he said it, I said it, AG said it, everybody keeps telling y'all the same exact thing. So when they put things out saying that it have to be a consent vote through email, no. That's a person not doing their job, not showing up to work. That's what that is, that's a cop-out. You need to show up to this board meeting and handle the business. Because right now, like I just stated, I'm just reiterating what I said, everybody's job is at stake. We cannot operate when we don't pay our bills. The food pantry runs on food, right? If we got no food to put in boxes to go deliver to our seniors, what do? They can't come to work and just look at boxes. They need something to do, but we're not paying bills. And there's a lot of other bills that have not gotten paid. That's very, very important. And I'll give that to the news so you understand where we are and why we're complaining about them not showing up to a scheduled board meeting, let alone all these special board meetings that we have called just to pay bills, just to make us whole and pay for insurance so that the drivers for transportation are insured. All these things matter, but we can't move forward without the proper protocol, which is have a board meeting, call the roll to pay bills, have agenda items, and take care of the business, whether it's up, down, or it's at a stall. You come and show up, place your vote, and go home. That is how government is ran. It is not a dictatorship, it's democracy. You have to move forward. So thank you so much for coming out. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna post some on my page because the caucus was really, really bad. I'm glad that he did spoke to it. So I just want you to understand, you will see me soon because it was really illegal. They did voter suppression and they did not allow the voters of Thornton Township inside of the building. Everybody was outside ready to come inside a building and they did not allow us in. So I want you to know that. What was that? Oh yeah, 4 o'clock. Yeah. No one's late. We got video footage of everything. You got video of me going inside saying, hey, we're here. And they said they had a party at 5 o'clock. So I just want to point that out to you because you had seniors in the cold with walkers, with oxygen tanks, things of that nature, and in wheelchairs. I had to allow them to go in my vehicles, on my buses, to stay warm. So I just don't believe in allowing people to treat people that way. At the end of the day, we are all human. And I say that over and over again. Whether people like you or not, you're supposed to take care of the people. And they did not do that night. It displayed that. And those that didn't see it, you can go watch all these videos and things that's going on. But I am really, really big on everybody should have the right to be heard. Everybody should have a voice. Everybody should be able to execute their right by coming to a voting spot and voting. But that did not happen that evening. You will hear from me. You will hear from my lawyers. And this is not the end of it. But I wanted to point that out. Thank you again for coming out this evening. Till next time.
Tiffany mad. She's upset. She probably more sad than upset though.
You shouldn't even be here.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have a press conference on all of them.
Yeah. Take the mics off. Yeah.
I'll fix it worse.
So apparently the girl that was apparently the girl that was speaking out, talking about Carmen Carlisle has the restraining order. I guess she doesn't live in a township. So one of the lady that was speaking, is that you guys put it in chat. I forget what the lady's name that was speaking. But anyway, she was speaking and she called her out there saying she shouldn't have been there. Keith Price and, your boy Mike, Mr. Dots, of course, they're going to say things on behalf of Tiffany because right now their job is in jeopardy. And Mike is probably really panicking because he don't get no job, period. Because all the things that Tiffany tried to appoint him to, she's been stonewalled. So she's trying to actually get him hired, and he keeps on showing up like what is it called? A disgruntled employee. He shows up to all the meetings, like a disgruntled employee. Like, do you have a life, sir? Like, and isn't he married? You guys put in the chat, isn't Michael Smith married? You're showing up to these meetings like it's your job. I mean, is it your job? So I would think that okay, you all in the I would think that he would not be showing up to the meeting unless he was hired. He's like showing up, and then Keith Price fat self, somebody put on there with his bad knees, he's showing up and speaking out. And you know why? Because Harris, if he's actually elected, I believe majority of Tiffany Henyard's staff will be out the door. He will replace all of them. I don't know how he would legally do it, but I guess Keith Price is acting as the administrator, so he's probably double dipping. So he's the food pantry coordinator and the administrator. So that's illegal within itself. Or I don't know who that salary is going to. We don't know because they lie so much. But we do know that Keith Price is supposed to be the administrator, and he does not fit or has the criteria to be the administrator. And you guys, have we seen, well, they haven't had a board meeting in a while, but we haven't seen Robert Hunt lately either. So I wonder where he's been at. So I'm not surprised that she was ranting and raving, talking shit. And Tiffany probably real sad because, like I think Lexi put in 2 months, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to have a $225,000 paycheck, base paycheck, and a $6,000 slush fund to spend monthly. You're not going to have that. It's going to be gone because you could do a write-in, but if you really think about it, most of the people that's with Tiffany, they probably can't write. They probably can't read or write. Anybody supporting Tiffany, they probably can't read or write. No, I'm not going to say that. But, they probably special. And getting seniors to write Tiffany Henyard, I could see if her name was like Al Smith or something, or, something really easy. But it's Tiffany Henyard. Okay, how they going to count that? They're not going to be able to count it. Orlando Gus, probably so. He probably stay in his mama's basement. He probably do. But I thought I seen a wedding finger on his, a wedding ring on his finger. Is he getting paid? The trustees say he doesn't work there. They block him and Price. Exactly. He shows up to the township. Well, he has the right to show up to the township to, speak because I believe he's a resident of the township. But he also shows up to Dalton Village like he's a resident. Or like he's working there. To me as well. And Orlando say probably so. Robert was at the caucus with her. Okay, so he is there. David Thomas, Freeman works from home, most likely. Yeah, he's still working from home. Hi, can someone catch me up? Okay, Carlos, this is from, okay, yeah, we could just do a catch up before I get offline. Carlos, yesterday, your girl, no, was it yesterday or Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday, they had, instead of having a primary for the township supervisor position, because it's the term has expired. It expires next year in February. And the supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, is claiming that she should have, or the senator should have put in for a primary, and he did not file the paperwork. Instead, he wanted to hold a caucus. A caucus is basically the people from the township. They have to be Democrats to vote in this caucus. And they check you to make sure when you show up to the caucus that you are who you are and you are registered Democrat. Okay? So you have a primary or a caucus. From what I'm thinking, it's all up to the senator. Now, the fishy thing about it is, and then another thing, whoever's running for the Democrats, they have to have a full slate. A full slate with all the trustees, the highway personnel, the tax assessor, and I think something else. Hold on for a second. You got make sure my son is coming in from school. But anyway, so lo and behold, Tiffany Henyard showed up late because they started the caucus at 7, and she claims none of her folks was able to get in to vote. And the person that was there, they appointed, or some of the people was there, but one person nominated Napoleon Harris, and he's the senator. It's not against the law for him to hold 2 positions in Illinois. They need to change that. But anyway, it's not against the law. So they appointed him. And then when they held the vote, they voted him in. And he did it. He didn't collect votes or whatever. I don't know. It was kind of weird. They said aye or nay. So that's how they voted. If you go back to my Wednesday stream, I played it. And so Tiffany was literally crying. She was, basically saying that they did this illegal. They didn't, they locked the residents out. The people spoke, blah, blah, blah. And so now she's holding a meeting to tell the residents in Thornton Township what's at stake, because they haven't been coming, the trustees haven't been coming to the meeting to pay the bills, and they tried to pay the bills online through an email, and she wanted to prove that she's right and they're wrong. She's right and they're wrong, and basically she's upset that she's gonna lose her cushy job in her slush fund. She's no longer gonna have Thornton Township slush fund to use to whatever, and to have these lavish parties, these $80,000 parties. A lot. So we're not going to have that anymore. Anyway, or she's not going to have that anymore. That slush fund that she's using the Thornton Township as her personal piggy bank, like she did Dalton. So that's just to catch you up. And she's supposed to have this interview with, I guess, the news station. I guess right after that's probably what they're doing now. Let me turn a feed on. They probably just waiting for her. But anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on with Tiffany Henyard. Yeah, and no more stylists. No more stylists, no more lavish clothes. She gonna be a bum. Tiffany, it will be in the food line. Cause I don't know what else she got going on. Maybe she bought a bunch of property. I know they said a bunch of property is missing, so maybe she stole that from the township in Dalton Village. So maybe that would be her fun. So anyway, you guys, tomorrow, first note, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. Share with everybody. And also make sure we want to thank Critical Smoker for the live link. So if you guys go over to Critical Smoker and show him some love and subscribe to his channel. Also, tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, we will be going live on Unpopular Opinion with Miss Super Producer. Let me just pull that, Chawanne Burns 2.0. If you are not subscribed to that channel, you will just go over there to subscribe to that channel as well. I'll put it in the chat. And so Unpopular Opinion, and we're doing the runaround in our NFL picks of tomorrow. So you guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, and I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.